What if the villain was never the villain? What if he was just misunderstood? What if the coldest man in the room wasn't heartless, but terrified of feeling anything at all? And what if the reason we fell in love with him is because he changed? Tonight, we're dissecting pride, we're dissecting ego, and we're dissecting transformation. And by the end of this video, you will understand why this character rewired romance forever. Welcome back to the chaos. Today, we're analyzing one of literature's most controversial romantic figures. A man who enters his story as emotionally unavailable, socially intimidating, and painfully proud, and somehow becomes the gold standard for romantic redemption. We're talking about Mr. Darcy from the novel Pride and Prejudice. But here's the twist. When he's first introduced in the story, he doesn't feel like a hero. He feels like an obstacle. And that's where things get interesting. Darcy walks into a room. He doesn't smile. He doesn't charm. He doesn't perform. He stands there, reserved, wealthy, and composed. And immediately, everyone decides who he is. Arrogant, proud, unapproachable. From the perspective of the audience, and especially Elizabeth, he is cold. But here's the twist. We are trained to distrust him before we even know him. That tension, that's intentional storytelling. He functions as both a social threat and a romantic mystery. Let's not romanticize the beginning. Darcy refuses to dance. He speaks bluntly, and he judges social surroundings while interfering in relationships, and he carries a very visible pride. If this was a modern story, he would be labeled as toxic. But in the narrative structure, he isn't written as evil. He's written as flawed. And flaws are not villainy. Flaws are opportunity. Everything shifts when he's rejected. Not just socially, but emotionally. For the first time, he is confronted, and instead of escalating, he reflects. That is the turning point. He begins evaluating his own behavior. He reassesses his pride, and he changes how he acts. Not for reputation, but for growth. And that transformation is what makes audiences fall in love. Because redemption arcs are powerful. Let's talk psychology. Darcy represents an emotional restraint, social conditioning, fear of vulnerability, status awareness, and internalized expectations. His early behavior is shaped by his environment. But once he experiences rejection, his identity destabilizes. And in that instability, he chooses self-improvement. That's rare in fiction. Most characters double down. He evolves. And that evolution turns him from social antagonist into romantic lead. Modern audiences love characters who appear cold but are loyal, who speak less but act more, who protect intensely and improve over time, and most of all, those who earn their redemption. Darcy isn't loved because he was perfect. He's loved because he grew. He proves that pride can soften, that ego can bend, and that self-awareness can win. And that transformation is addictive to watch. So, was he a villain? In the beginning, he functions as an obstacle. Was he morally corrupt? No. Was he emotionally flawed? Yes. Did he change? Absolutely. That's why he survives in literary culture, because he embodies the ultimate romance fantasy. The person who starts closed and starts to open up. The person who seems unreachable and chooses love. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe redemption arcs make characters more attractive? Or do you think early arrogance should disqualify someone forever? Comment below and let's argue about it. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into character psychology, dark romantic dynamics, and narrative villain analysis, subscribe. Because this channel doesn't just talk about stories. We dissect them, we unmask them, and we turn them inside out. And next time, we might be breaking down someone far darker. Welcome to the chaos. Until next time.